Okay, now we're going to take a look at submissions when our partner tries to single leg us. We're going to look at a very powerful counter, the sumigeshi off of Kimura grip. So Stefan gets a single leg on me. Here, we're going to use our forearm to stuff his head down under our stomach, reach into this space and grab a Kimura grip. We're going to go for a sumigeshi style butterfly sweep. We're going to hop this leg in, which means we're going to lose all our balance. This foot is going to flex under his ankle here, and we're going to sit down and throw him over. If he lets go of my leg, great, but we're going to assume he keeps that grip for now so that we have to deal with it. From here, if he's got a strong grip, trying to break that grip right here is tough. We're going to bring his arms over his head, making him weaker. Now we're going to break and press down here. When I press down, I'm locking out both arms like a tricep extension. So pressing down like a tricep extension, he is not able to roll to his left. If he tries to roll to his left, here, he gets stuck by the Kimura. So often what he'll try is to roll to his right. When he does this, we're going to keep our arms straight. As he continues to try to come up to his knees, again, this little pocket under his hip opens up. Go ahead. And we're going to use our straight arms to slide our knee under that space. We get our hook, we bring him over to the other side. Now, we could simply turn him face up and get this hook, which is actually my preference, to be on the underhook side versus the choking side. So we're going to talk about both quickly. We'll look at it from the top again. So he catches the single leg on me, we stuff that head down, we catch our Kimura grip. We hop in, fling that leg over. Bring the arms over his head, kick, and push down. Now, as he rolls to his knees, we keep the arms locked out, and what we're doing is we're pressing into his stomach to bring our legs in like this with our right knee bent so we can get under his hip. So he comes up to his knees, we come in here, we get this hook. Now, if we want to go to the choking side, which is fine, we're going to lever over this way, switch this hand here, ideally to his palm, and ideally with a pincer grip here, so my fingers are biting into the metatarsal between the first and second finger here. This is generally a great grip, but if I get this, it's even stronger. I can actually wrist lock him here, but separate conversation. This allows us to go to this side and again, finish right away with any variation on our rear naked choke. But I said that, lift your hip for a second. So we just shot in here, we had our Kimura grip. We lever, I prefer to be on this side here. Why?
If you have the Kimura grip.
Whether I have the Kimura grip or not.
Okay.
Generally, even though, and this is actually a really important discussion, even though his escape, and if you don't know the escape here, this is huge, huge, huge. His escape is easiest when he can get his head to the ground on the safe side. Even though that's still possible, being on the underhook side, the safe side, opens up a lot of attacks for me. So first, if I'm just going a straight classic one-arm twisting rear naked choke, or even before that, just to understand why would we want to be on this side if his escape is so easy there? What stops him from escaping is my head position. What I want to do is put my chin over his shoulder. Now, when I tell people to do this, they'll often do this. They'll tuck their chin. Stefan can still beat my head here, yeah. So what I need is to protrude my chin forward and get it in front of his shoulder. So now he tries to go. He's not able to. All the while, we're doing our work to get inside there. Now, we're going to take this opportunity to talk about getting the rear naked choke position when he's actually using his head to prevent it. So first, we're here with good position. I can't get into the space here in order to choke properly. We're going to bend our knuckles to create a cougar paw. Again, if I can get this grip, it's best. This is also fine. And what I'm really looking to do is get the ridge of my thumb under his ear, or under the jaw right behind the ear. That's going to allow me to, as Stefan would describe it years ago, rotor-rooter here. So just twist here to get just far enough that I can get the ridge of my thumb under his chin. From here, as I walk I'll open those fingers and tent my wrist. That helps me lift his chin. Now, in slow motion, the heel of my hand comes down as my fingers then extend.
caterpillar of death.
Yes. And so this allows me to get deep. Again, if I can get my chin in front, I can go one arm here and we're good. Okay. So again, he's here. We come underneath until I can get the ridge of the thumb under that chin. Even if he's tucking his chin hard here, I'm going to be able to walk through here. So those are some important details on getting the rear naked choke position. The other reason I like to be on the choking side, or the safe side rather, the underhook side, is that it gives us many easy options for killing this arm with our leg. So there are whole games built around, you know, cross grips, same side grip, shoving this down and coming here. And those are important games to learn, but a really easy way to think about getting this arm trapped is, especially if I'm not hyper flexible and his hand's relatively high, it's hard to get that leg over. What I want to do is get a belt line hook. So bring this knee to your chest. I want to control his hip here and get this leg across here. That allows me to control both legs. Now I'm going to just shrimp up. Now I don't need much flexibility, even if his wrist is real high. Yeah, I can step here, push it down, and now come behind. Now, again, it's 2 on, well, now it's 1 on none because I've controlled this here. And again, we know how to get through here. We can go 1 arm version, any variation. But this gives us another number of other submission possibilities. Let's move forward a bit. So starting from here again, he's got my leg. Here, we bring his arms overhead, break, pin down. He tries to roll to his knees. We keep those arms extended, slide under, get that hook, and instead of bringing him to the choking side, we simply get this. We're going to transfer the grip and come here. He starts pulling down. This is the perfect opportunity. Again, if he ever gets my thumb, I'm not going to finish him until I can clear it. We're going to step on his hip and get a belt line hook with my foot flexing on the far side of his hip. Here, I'm relatively flexible, so I could maybe get it, but shrimping up just makes that super easy. Now, we push that down. If I can hide the shoelaces, great. Here, he's a little low for me to finish, so I'll hoist him up in order to get the rear naked. But one of my favorite finishes from the back is the triangle. We're going to look at details here. I'm actually preferring to switch back to the Kimura grip or make this other transition to the arms we'll see in a second. But it's easier to learn the leg positions just from here. So we're going to go from our right shoulder to our left, but as we do, we're extending our legs down, our left leg down in this case, here, and we're going to switch our arms. We're going to keep it here for now just so we can focus on the legs. Instead of rolling all across my back here, what I want to do is start arching my back, and as I get to my back, here where I'm face up, I'm going to give a little crunch. Something specific is going to happen with my legs, we'll talk about in a sec, but this crunch allows me to not roll wide across my back, but now crunch in here and land in a triangle. Okay, and we're going to talk about what the legs are doing. From here, my feet flex. This foot really wants to hide behind his ribs here, because his escape is to come under this leg here and start opening mine. So the more I can hide it, the harder that becomes here. Again, we're going to look at a different arm position, but I just wanted to focus on what the legs are doing. So one more time. I've got his back on the safe side. Here, I decide to kill that arm by getting a belt line hook and shrimping up, stepping, and hiding. Now, what the arms are going to do from this Kimura grip, as I start arching, I'm going to come both palms towards me. This one cupping his bicep, keeping glued to my chest. This one curling to the other side of the wrist. Now everything's the same. Once I get face up, I do this little crunch. Now, most people feel a real struggle to finish this as a choke, and they often feel like, okay, I'm still in a good position, I can finish the arm, and that's where their focus goes. The reason they struggle is, notice the space between my knee and his neck. As we start going to our left, I hike this knee slightly up, and now there's very little space between my knee and his neck. Now, Stefan feels it as a choke.
That's terrible. So when you say you hiked your knee up, you moved it that way?
I moved it this way towards your jaw because it ends up somewhat here kind of towards your shoulder. So here you'll feel less of a choke.
It's not great, but it's not terrible.
Yeah. Very different, right? And so we can talk in more depth about how I can adjust this as well. But sometimes, especially if I have long legs, there is a lot of space, and so we need to think about finishing the arm itself. So there are 3 or 4 ways to do that. First, I can simply keep this grip and be very gentle. This is unlike most key lock finishes. This will actually just dislocate the shoulder. This is not just an angular change. It actually like pops the top of the humerus out. So that's one, just arching. Okay, we could also very easily attack the wrist, but most common is to swim this in and go for football armbar or shotgun armbar here. The main mechanism to finish is my right elbow pinching down here. I'm also going to add a slight back arch, but if this is loose, Stefan can turn his, even if he doesn't get it out, he can turn his thumb this way, and now it's, even if I keep it, it's not quite the angle I want. It's not an arm bar. It's more of a key lock, and he can start rolling up to his knees. So what I want to do is pinch that down. Now my hip is going to do a good job finishing it. If I feel like I'm struggling to keep good control, I can add extra pressure coming here and pinching this knee down here, and that's a pretty nasty arm bar. So again, 3 ways to finish, palm to palm here. We can go on the wrist or swim under, and more of this football style armbar with a few variations. Let's take a look again. We'll start here from this T Kimura. Here he's got my leg. Here, again, to break the grip, we come here, we stuff down. He starts rolling. Keep this strong, slide that knee in, get our hook, come all the way over to the other side, or sorry, only halfway so we can get that hook. Now, we slide up, we kill this arm. We make our switch here. At this point that I'm face up, I'm going to make sure that this leg, my left leg, slides closer to his neck, and we come here. Here you should be able to finish. Now, sometimes what happens, and we'll go into more depth from other situations, sometimes your angle's just not quite there. The way to adjust is hold his elbow tight to you, get up to your elbow, and you can either keep here or here. But often what happens, this is more from other setups, is your knee is a little too far forward. So what we want to do to adjust is staying on our elbow. We're going to walk our butt down towards his feet here. This angle change makes a big difference. Now, again, when I first practiced this, I never finished it as a choke. I would always have to attack the arms. But some of these adjustments, particularly this one of sliding my butt towards his feet, made it much more effective as a choke. So my partner attacks single leg. We roll them over with a sumigeshi, and they're most often going to keep the leg. If they don't, great. But especially at the beginning, if they're not super trained in how to escape in that T Kimura position, they're going to roll up to their knees. That's going to allow us to slide under and finish with any of these back attacks. All we're really doing is expanding our back attack arsenal.